This van is parked outside our studios on 5th Avenue in Huntington. We need your help to fill it with non-perishable food items, and here's the reason why. The extreme heat and power outages from storms has put the Huntington Area Food Bank in dire straits. In years past, about 500 student volunteers would stay here at Winfield High School, but this summer the building is being worked on and therefore can't be used. Now volunteers will be staying here at Buffalo High School, which holds about half that amount. Right now, this water is very cool and refreshing on this hot summer day. Park leaders are hoping others feel the same way, despite the fact there are no waves here at the wave pool. Kincaid had thrown the pitch to the batter, and his momentum took him this direction. The batter swung, and the line drive hit Kincaid in the head. Residents say the shooting and the standoff that followed are uncharacteristic of this neighborhood, adding this part of Huntington is basically crime-free and quiet. A few minutes ago, I talked with a spokesperson with the State Fire Marshal's office. They have ruled this fire as an arson. Investigators on the scene, one by one, ruled out any possible accidental causes. Therefore, they say now that this fire was intentionally set. Right now, I'm in one of our station's four-wheel drive vehicles, and I'm going to take off driving up this hillside here. There are thousands of these types of hillsides across West Virginia. As you can see, this one just happens to be clear of snow and ice, but that may not be the case for other hillsides across the state, leading many to believe they need a four-wheel drive in the winter. Marshall Bailey grew up in a rural part of Putnam County near the town of Poca. Friends and neighbors there are saddened and devastated by this tragedy. So you've known him since he was inception. Barbara Smith knew Marshall Bailey all his life. She was like a second mother and remembers when Bailey decided he wanted a career in law enforcement, proud of the decision, yet she's still worried about him.
Before that, every time I'd hear something happen in the county that he worked in, I'd think, oh no, I hope it's not Marshall. Not that I wanted anybody to be hurt, but he's just like my own son. He played with my sons, he hunted with my sons. He's just a wonderful person. I'm deeply, deeply hurt.
Felt like somebody kicked me in the gut.
That's how Poca High School principal Vic Donaldson described being told of the shooting death of Marshall Bailey. Donaldson coached Bailey in the mid-1980s when Bailey played basketball, describing him as a well-mannered, good student.
Yes, sir, no, sir type of kid, came from a good family, just it definitely hits home.
Bailey is also being remembered as a person dedicated to whatever he did.
You know, he was one of our own, and it just leaves empty space right now.
Donaldson says Poca High School is planning to remember Bailey at the next home football game. Details are still being worked out. We'll let you know what is being planned. In the studio, Gil McClanahan, 13 News. The department says that they plan to ask residents to subscribe to their fire protection service. Those who don't will be billed for responding to the emergency. Effective July 1st of next year, the Teays Valley Volunteer Fire Department will no longer be part of the Putnam County Fire Board. They are pulling out and forming a private nonprofit fire station known as the Teays Valley Fire Protection District.
I think it's a shame that the fire department has to resort to such methods sometimes to get what they really need.
A spokesperson for the department says as part of the Putnam County Fire Board, the department only received 8% of the county fire service fees. As a private nonprofit station, they believe they could generate more revenue by charging residents for fire service, but some already have reservations.
If they go on their own and no regulations, what's the limit on what they're going to sock you?
Well, if they're private, I guess they could charge anything that they wanted, and we really don't have a choice because we need that coverage.
The department believes the move will help them reduce cost, improve response times, and possibly add some paid firefighters to the staff.
I think it has the potential to be either bad or good, and I'm not sure, as I said, what the ramifications are.
For Teays Valley homeowners, having full-time paid firefighters may help reduce residential insurance rates. The department plans to formally withdraw at the Fire Board's regular meeting Thursday night. Teays Valley intends to continue to provide mutual aid when needed. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for the Putnam County Fire Board says they have asked the county attorney to look into the legal issues surrounding this move. For the past year, 31-year-old Scott Cunningham was part of Hurricane City Council. Now he stands accused of sending a 13-year-old girl who lives in his neighborhood sexually explicit text messages. According to the criminal complaint, Cunningham knows the victim's family and knows the victim's age.
You know, it hurts when you hear anybody gets arrested for that type of crime.
Cunningham is charged with soliciting a minor via computer. Court documents indicate numerous text messages were sent to the victim from Cunningham. In one of those messages, Cunningham asked the victim to take a naked picture of herself and send it to him.
A little shocked. Just, you never expect someone like that to be in your neighborhood, so. And I think the little girl was friends with my sister, so it's just, you know, it's one of her friends. It was someone I've seen around the neighborhood, and yeah, it's just not something you expect to see.
You know, but then knowing that it's somebody I know and knowing that's a Hurricane City Council person, you know, that goes through me. That's even worse.
Why?
Well, you know, anytime somebody does anything to a child, it really infuriates me. You know, I've got kids of my own.
Late Wednesday afternoon, Cunningham resigned from Hurricane City Council. In Putnam County, Gil McClanahan, WOWK.
Good morning again, Jack. And I think all the crowds are coming in spurts because it was really crowded several hours ago. It died down. Now I think it's starting to pick back up, as you can see from the cash register area behind me. Let's talk to one of these shoppers that are here looking for a bargain. This is Amy Howard. I met Amy about a half an hour ago. She drove here from Belfry, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Why?
For the savings. I have 3 small children, and it's, you know, when you can rack up and save some money, it's, you know, it's worth the drive.
Well, let's see how you did. Let's briefly go through. What kind of bargains did you find?
I got the backyard grill for my little boy who's 2, and I got it for like half price. I saved like $30 on the claw over here. So I mean, it's normally $80, and I'm getting it for $50 this morning. $17 I think on the dart tag, and that's for my nephews. They're gonna love it. So you know, the savings really add up on Black Friday.
So it was worth this. So what was it, like a 2-hour drive up here?
About an hour and a half. You know, the roads aren't too bad, but yeah, it's definitely worth the trip. Yeah.
And worth getting up this early.
Yes. Yeah, I've been up since 2.
All righty. Any more shopping?
Yeah, I'll be out all day, I'm sure.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you, Amy, for joining us. And the crowds, like we said, are still coming in, checking out, trying to find those bargains. And we'll talk to some more shoppers coming up a little bit later. In the meantime, Jack, back to you. Anything you want me to look for you out here?
Let me think about that. There probably is.
Where the gutters go down.
Jim Mail of Eleanor needs a new roof. The cost would be about $7,000, and right now it's not in the family budget. He says his current roof leaks in several places.
It come down pretty good one day. He got a filled her lamp up. She's wearing lamps, and the ceiling comes down, filled it up and running over, and it's got electric in it.
Next month, Reach Work Camp volunteers will be in Putnam County, and Jim's roof is on the list of projects to be fixed. However, housing issues have cut the number of volunteers that are coming, which means projects like Jim's may be on the chopping block.
If it gets cut, I feel bad about it in a way, but we'll look around and see if we can't find another way of doing it. If we have to save money or cut some of the bills down where we can do it.
In years past, about 500 student volunteers would stay here at Winfield High School. But this summer, the building is being worked on and therefore can't be used. Now volunteers will be staying here at Buffalo High School, which holds about half that amount.
At first, we had projected at least 200 homes to be worked on for those 2 weeks, 100 homes per week. And now we're down to about 75 per week. That means 50 people are not going to get some help.
And May admits the number of families helped could go down even more. The Reach Work camps are July 14th through the 28th. At that time, May says they'll find out what projects are on the chopping block and which families need to reapply next year to see if they can get some much needed assistance. In Putnam County, Gil McClanahan, 13 News. Rain Dutney of Hurricane woke up Tuesday morning to find out he was one of hundreds to receive KKK materials laying in his front yard.
We live in the 21st century, you know. You don't think of us as having these kind of groups. You'd like to think society's progressed forward.
The literature was in a plastic bag with rocks in it to keep the package from blowing away. City leaders believe the distribution was done overnight.
It appeared that they had just thrown them out of the vehicle as they were driving by, threw it in their front lawn or on their front porch. So it was a quick drive-by and throw these things everywhere, and there were many, many of them.
Those who received the KKK materials were quick to react.
Kind of mixed, a bit laughable, but concerned that there was contact information to join. If there wasn't any information, I would have thought it was a joke.
You'd have to want to be an outcast to even consider putting your name to this. A mental defect almost.
The only thing police can do to those who are distributing this material is cite them for littering, because this material is protected free speech. The contact information listed a Beckley address and phone number. We called to get a comment, but instead got a recording.
Our leader is the Lord. Yes, our Lord and Savior is the one person we all look up to.
We like to think of them as being something of the past, but I guess they're still around.
Hurricane City leaders received hundreds of calls of concern over the literature. Mayor Edwards says they advise citizens to throw the materials away. In Hurricane, Gil McClanahan, WOWK.